I want you to close your eyes, just for a moment, and picture a house at dawn. The sun is softening the edges of everything, a hush before the world stirs. In one upstairs room, there's a man named Yu Menglong, an actor whose face has given comfort to millions, leaning by a window. He's silent. He's alone, or so it seems. And maybe he is. Outside, the wind plays with the faint curtain, the color of moonlight. The morning before, dinner had gathered warmth, a table, friends, laughter pulling him out of his quiet shell. Silverware glinted, bowls of rice steamed, skies outside held stars. Later, he retreats to his room. The world dims. He locks the door. In that small enclosed space, memories repossess him, roles played, lines spoken, applause ringing like distant thunder. The fame, the bright screens, it all annexes pieces of his heart, until there's only longing. Longing for peace. Perhaps he reached for a drink, something to soften the edges, to calm the relentless echo in his mind. Alcohol. It courses through veins, blurring sharp corners. It dulls the sting of regrets. But sometimes it does more. It loosens the straps that hold us steady. It convinces us of invisibility, of strength, of an illusion of safety when what we feel is anything but. Now imagine the window. A safety net meant to guard, to prevent tragedy. But it's loose, frayed, dangling. At times we build guards around ourselves, people, promises, rituals, but often they strain under the weight of unseen grief. The net isn't replaced, isn't tightened. It sags. Yu Menglong stands by that window. The world beyond calls with longing, the morning breeze, the promise of sun, but inside, sorrow whispers. In that moment, alcohol has not just numbed him, it has nudged him toward the edge. It's abrupt. It's accidental. A slip. A moment's lapse. The net fails. The window ajar. And he falls. In the aftermath, the world hears a crash, not just of body against concrete, but of hope. Hearts stop. There is confusion. There are whispers. Was it foul play? Was someone to blame? Could this have been prevented? Come the mother's voice, fragile and intolerable in its grief. She stands in a crowd of questions. She reveals, "My son was under the influence of alcohol." She says, "He fell from the building." She says, "Please stop the rumors." She speaks openly, though her voice trembles, though she knows that pain springs eternal, yet must be borne in silence. She tells us what we needed to hear, not to close our curiosity, but to give shape to mystery. The police have investigated. No foul play. The funeral is completed. But nothing fills the space he leaves behind. How do you bury a soul, or the fragments of it? How do you silence the voices in your head that say, "What if?" Here is where the story becomes more than just tragedy, it becomes mirror. Because we all have windows in our life, mental windows ajar, safety nets frayed. We all have nights when regret whispers too loudly. Nights when alcohol seems a balm, yet secretly claws deeper. We all know the weight of rumors when loss is raw. We all yearn for truth, for closure, for mercy. Yu Menglong's mother's plea is simple yet immense. Let the world see this pain rationally. Stop building ghost stories in the dark. Her words tremble with love, with loss. I hope Menglong rests in peace. I strive to live every day well. I believe that is also Menglong's wish. In your heart, you may ask, what might have been different? If the window had been safe. If a friend had stayed. If the drink had come later, or not at all. If someone had seen him struggling. Or if he had been able to speak, or let speak, what was inside. To those watching, to those who've lost, to those who've stumbled, know this, tragedy sometimes arrives not with malice, but with neglect. A neglect of self-care. A neglect of asking for help. A neglect of the safety nets that get frayed in small ways. Skipping therapy appointments, avoiding honest conversations, numbing with things which dull but ultimately do not heal. Yu Menglong's story is not just his. It is ours. It is the echo in every home where someone drinking alone at night becomes a prayer. Please don't drift too far, please let me wake up tomorrow. It is the tight line between public persona and private pain. It is the reminder, words matter, windows must be safe, whispers of fear deserve to be heard before they become cries we only see too late. When dawn finally breaks, we hope for light. We pray for clarity, for compassion, for truth spoken gently but courageously. And when a mother speaks out, in grief, in sorrow, but in honesty, she invites us all into understanding, into shared sorrow, into the responsibility we hold, to be vigilant for others, to check on those we love, to tighten the safety nets. Because sometimes a fall is not just a fall, it is all the small failures that came before it. And in every one of us there is power to adjust, to attend, to care. So that maybe, just maybe, fewer windows are left ajar. Let us remember Menglong not just in his roles, not just in the image he gave the world, but in the fragility, the very human fragility he could not always mask. And let us honor him by living more tenderly, more visibly, more courageously in our own shadows. The mother's words linger, even after the microphones are turned off, even after the crowd disperses. Reporters step away, their notes trembling with the weight of her grief. Cameras switch off, but her voice remains, echoing inside every heart that heard it. She does not speak as a celebrity's mother, not as someone accustomed to the spotlight. She speaks as any mother would, broken, fragile, clinging to fragments of love where the body is gone but the memories remain. She remembers his first cry, how small he was, how fiercely she promised to protect him. She remembers the shy boy who carried a guitar bigger than his body, strumming awkwardly until the music caught fire in his veins. She remembers the first time he stepped in front of a camera, nervous but radiant, the world suddenly recognizing the light she had always seen. He became a star. But to her, he never stopped being the boy who once hid behind her skirt when strangers came too close. That's the truth of fame. It shows the world a version of you, while the truest parts remain behind closed doors, shared only with those who raised you, who wiped your tears, who prayed silently for your safety every night. Her voice cracks as she admits, he was drinking. In another world, she would never say such a thing. In another life, she would shield him from judgment, protect his image. But here, truth matters more than reputation. She knows how the rumors sting, how they twist grief into spectacle. By telling the truth, she is not condemning him, she is protecting him, even in death. She says, "It was an accident. He did not mean to go." Those words pierce the silence like a blade. How many times have we all leaned too far into a moment, careless, distracted, unsteady? How many times have we assumed safety, only to realize later how fragile life truly is? The scene replays in her mind endlessly. She wasn't there that night, but a mother always imagines, always fills in the blanks. She sees him stepping toward the window, maybe humming to himself, maybe lost in a fog of thoughts. She sees the glass shimmering faintly with city lights. She sees the breeze tugging at his sleeve, inviting him closer. One slip. 1 second. One moment that unravels everything. She cannot stop replaying it. And yet, in her statement, she urges others not to dwell on the darkness, but to remember the light. She speaks of window safety, something so simple, so ordinary, yet so overlooked. How many lives are stolen not by grand tragedies, but by small, preventable details? A latch unfastened. A frame not repaired. A moment's neglect. And then alcohol, the silent accomplice. She does not curse it, does not rage against it, but her pain carries the warning, do not let it be the rope that ties you to sorrow. So many lean on it, unaware of how subtly it erodes balance, how quickly it turns a room into a danger zone. She shares this not to shame, but to protect. In her loss, she becomes a guardian for others. In the days after his funeral, she sits in his room. The bed is neatly made, his books stacked by the window, his guitar resting against the wall. The scent of him lingers, that faint trace of cologne mixed with the warmth of his skin. She runs her fingers across his desk, over the lyrics he had scribbled, unfinished songs that no one will ever hear. She whispers to the silence, "I will live well, my son. For you." Fans come with flowers, with letters, with trembling hands. Some cry openly, some kneel, some simply stand in silence, unable to move. She watches them, and for a moment, she feels less alone. She sees how deeply he touched strangers, how his voice carried into hearts she will never know. And yet, it only deepens the ache, because to the world, he was a star. To her, he was her child. At night, when the city outside dims, she dreams. She dreams of him standing by that window, But this time he does not fall. He turns to her, smiling, his eyes gentle. "Mama," he says, "don't be sad. I'm free." She wakes with tears soaking her pillow. And still she speaks. Because silence would mean letting the rumors win, letting falsehood steal his memory. She tells the truth so that his name will not be swallowed by mystery or malice. She tells the truth so that others might see the hidden dangers in their own lives, the glass too thin, the drink too tempting, the loneliness too silent. Her grief becomes a lesson. Her pain becomes a plea. And in every word she speaks, Yu Menglong's spirit lingers, urging the world to look closer, to live safer, to love deeper. Because in the end, it is not death that defines him, but the truth his mother fought to give, the love she still carries, and the hope that others will hold tighter to the ones they love before the moment slips away.